I'm a bit irritated.
Oh,
Here we are.
Recording.
That's it. So, good morning, Louise. Wonderful to have you on the show here. For
You're
those
very
who
well.
don't know Louise, Louise was till recently the CEO of the Surrey Chambers. And it's probably fair to say you were basically the impersonation of the chamber. Everyone knows Louise. Everyone, wherever you go, it was Louise. Louise said this. Louise did this, and so a big change for you, and we will hear a bit about later about this. What you're doing currently is special projects in the chambers, and I'm a beneficiary, as I said already, of one of these projects you're running, and we will drill into this. I want to know really what was the starting point of that. But before you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and what the drivers behind this, Louise, I would like to take you back to the beginning of your career. And I saw you were marketing manager and did a few little different things. So what was the trigger to get you onto this path where you were quite successful over the years? What was it? Was it coincidence? Was there a business trigger? What was it? Tell us a little bit.
Well, I think you may be surprised. So before I joined the chamber, I was actually the marketing director for Bureau Veritas, which is a conformity assessment company. And it was a point at which the idea was that I would move to Paris because it was a French-owned company, and take my family, including my 11 and 9-year-old daughters and husband, over to Paris and become, the world director of Bureau Veritas. And it was a huge decision. And I happened to bump into somebody, or I used to travel on the train with somebody whose wife was looking for a managing director, CEO of a small organization in Woking. And it had a parking space. That's my aside. And I knew nothing about, to be honest, I knew nothing about Chambers of Commerce at that point, but it was a local job, and it felt like I would rather, I think that the move abroad wasn't quite in my So I went to talk to the relevant people about the CEO job at Surrey Chambers of Commerce. It all sounded great fun. It sounded like it was almost, being the head girl of a sort of school, and, stand at the AGM and give speeches and events and things. And how wrong was I? Because I thought it was going to be an easy job. However, what it is a very real job. It is, you are absolutely steeped in the local business community, and you're part of the business community. And the fact that I lived very locally as well, right in the middle in Woking. So I was already, a part of the area. But I knew nothing about how Chambers worked. And I think it stood me in good stead. I think that was my advantage when I applied for the job, because I think everybody else that had applied had already been involved in the area of chambers and public sector. So the chamber sort of stands between employers and the public sector, and does a lot of translating, I would say. So I think the fact that I came from the private sector and had already had 17, 20 years experience of working in the private sector, it was actually a good combination. But gosh, did I have a steep learning curve. I think it took me 6 months to really understand what I'd taken on, and to really think about what can we actually do that will make a difference amongst businesses locally. And I'd say every day since, I learned something every single day. It because it's so real, because you are talking to real businesses every day. I do have to spend a certain amount, or have had to spend a certain amount of time, sitting at my desk, poring over reports or writing reports. But my favorite is making connections and introducing the right people to each other, and seeing the businesses all flourish, sometimes just because they've made the right connections. So that's how I got here.
So that, and then it was quite a long stretch with the chambers, wasn't it? So you must have found something that caught your interest and made you wanting to do it. Yeah, nobody stays for such a long time in such a position if you don't love what you're doing. Yeah, so
absolutely.
you must have
I
found.
arrived thinking it would be for 3 years maybe. That's 'cause it was a CEO role, so it needed appropriate amount of time. So I was thinking 3 years, but every year it just there was still more to be done, different projects, different businesses as well. Members that join the chamber, they I wouldn't say they come and go, but they change in terms of the types of businesses that are looking for support. Then you've got all the changes in the the surroundings, well, certainly the geopolitical area. I mean, when you think that we've been through probably certainly Brexit, we've been through some really tough times with the economy. We've been through COVID. I mean, we were working, not all of us, some of them had to be furloughed during COVID, but a number of us were working, longer hours than we would normally do, just to try and, keep businesses supported and up to date with what was happening. There's also that connection because we are a very local organisation, but we also have an excellent sort of network with the whole of the British chambers. So we used to meet on a regular basis, certainly during COVID. I mean, we still chambers get together and share best practice. And do you know what? Sharing best practice is my favourite solution to most things. When you get people in a room and say, well, how do you deal with this? And there's always one person or one organisation that is doing a great job. So, sharing best practice. But when you the whole work of the British Chambers of Commerce in a room, it's quite powerful.
May I just come in there for a moment? So obviously, you could entertain yourself in such a role, and I'm not suggesting you did, but you could, and say, get my team around it. What would be a nice project? And that's what we do for next year. And our businesses will love it. I'm sure they will love it once they see what we're doing. Or you could take the approach and collect what are the pressure points in the businesses of the members, which I'm sure you have done. So give us a little bit of an idea how this works, and maybe a good example of where you found a big issue and how this was addressed.
Well, I think it's absolutely critical to listen to the businesses because some things I guess you do because you just know, because you speak to enough businesses and things, they don't know what the solution should be, but you can come up with things. But I think through all the things that I mentioned, I mean, Brexit, I think every single business was trying to understand what was going on. They were trying to think, how is it going to directly affect them? So we ran a number of workshops and clinic type sessions where we had experts within the finance side, the legal side, customs, all the different aspects of Brexit that would affect a business. And those were so well, I mean, that I give that as a good example because that was a very clear, there is an issue. What is, what can we do about it? And the take up and the sort of involvement of businesses within those sessions, and and also feedback in what more did they want and how did they want it to be presented, was just phenomenal, really.
That was probably just taking the fork away from the uncertainty, what was happening. So helping them understanding what does it really practically mean. You probably could set up another series of workshops now, listening to Radio 4 this morning. So depending on who is the next Prime Minister, we're going all the way back, and then you have the same questions the other way around again, haven't you?
Well, yes, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Oh my goodness. But I think one of the things that people don't probably appreciate if they're not involved in it is the fact that the Chambers of Commerce do deliver a lot of international trade export documentation services, and we do in Surrey. So it's a whole different group of businesses who come to us for very specific reason, you know, to get their goods overseas and get the right paperwork, but they don't necessarily get involved in the local networking or exchange. But again, that's back to what you said. You know, you've got to understand what your customers want, and if that's what they're coming to you for, then make it the very best, you know, customer service. If you've ever come across an exporter who has a ship leaving Southampton or wherever and needs the paperwork for it, they need very careful handling, because you know, they are very anxious and very very much need what they're looking for. Just a minute. Okay.
So if we move on to your special projects, what you're doing now, and obviously I'm personally interested in what made you think that this it's called Business in Surrey or Business Surrey, or I can't remember exactly. What made you setting this up and driving this? And there was massive interest, at least at the session I was at in Farnham. People were really interested in that, and can't wait actually for the next steps to happen. So, but what was the basis for that? What happened that this came up?
I like to keep it quite simple, and whilst we know that all the things that affect businesses are, you know, regulation, bureaucracy, time pressures, the sort of trying to make sure that their workforce is productive, trying to be paid on time to make sure that the cash flow is working. But the one thing that I feel as though we dance around it a little bit, but the one thing that every single business wants is customers. And not, you know, there is absolutely no doubt, if you have no customers, you have no business. And one of the reasons that chambers set up all the hundreds of years ago in their different guises was where businesses were coming together and almost sort of, you know, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and they were exchanging. So I'll give you a nice piece of beef for the weekend and you give me candles, etc. I'm being really simplistic about it. So chambers are very much in their absolute ethos about local buying, you know, working together, not just buying from each other and selling to each other, but also learning from each other. So it's all about being local. And so one of the things that the chamber is a not-for-profit organization, and we run everything, you know, quite sort of tightly. And in order to really help that sort of exchange of ideas and sales opportunities, I felt that we needed more resource on it, focus. And an opportunity, and this was a sort of a serendipitous opportunity, came up to apply for some economic growth funding from the local, well, it's from the government really, but from the local authority. And so I put together this project, which I sort of outlined and identified how we could almost put what the chamber does on a day-to-day basis, put it on speed, and really, you know, help those relationships to develop and those local sales to happen. One of the other aspects of it was that many smaller businesses don't really have the sort of skills or the training to know how to either get into big companies or public sector organizations, or, you know, really have the right information to sell their product or service. So one aspect of the project was to deliver a series of sales training modules where they're actually all the same. So the sales training is a half day covering all aspects of sales, if you can imagine. I mean, people go on 3-week courses, but, you know, we've sort of done a really high level but very effective, very practical course with a lady called Anita Saint. I don't know. A lot of people have come across her. She's a great networker within the chamber and sits on the chamber board as well. So she's already delivered to, I think, 3 oversubscribed sessions on the sales side. We then wanted to create a series of, one of which you went to, a series of roadshows where really the main aspect was bringing businesses in a room and encouraging them to work with each other, which is what we do at Chamber anyway. But this whole series, we have developed a tool which is not quite ready, but it's imminent, which will help buyers and sellers connect, not directly connect with each other, but the opportunity is for you to put your services on this app tool, AI tool, and for buyers to go on there looking for what they need to buy, and in the background it will automatically match up. Very soft touch, very light touch. The idea isn't for it to be, and here is your best supplier and they tick all your boxes, because a lot of buyers have a lot of boxes to tick. But in the background, we will have been helping them to tick the boxes in a general sense. So that they are more ready to take up, slightly bigger contracts.
I mean, you definitely on the right track with it there, because there's one thing what nobody has in the small business community, and this is time. And if you don't have to make it perfect, but if you take big chunks out of the time from doing the research, who would be, who could be, who can help me, how does it work, if you take that away, the last bits I think everyone can do, because we do this all the time. But for example, when I one that echoed with me, how do you get in contact with the right people in the council for procurement? I'm pretty sure I can find this out myself. But this will be the eternal project I will do tomorrow. It will never happen today. But if there is somebody saying, actually, this is how it works and this is what you need to do, then suddenly the time I have to spend to give it a go is much smaller. So, and I think these are very good examples of what businesses are looking for, at least the small business community. I mean, we all know the others like Vision Engineering. I mean, they're self-sufficient. They don't need this kind of hand-holding, I guess. But
they can buy from the smaller businesses, whereas they may have just gone on to Google or just, in fact, that's a good example of a company that has found this all very interesting. And I think they're actually hosting one of our the next, so that I've talked about the 2 things, the roadshow and the sales training, and then the 3 things, the AI tool. But then for the sort of back end of the year, if you like, the project, because it's just a 1-year project, get everything moving and sustainable, is actually to have those buyers at the front of the room and bring in the suppliers so they can hear directly. So the first one kicks off this week, actually, on the 20th, with Heathrow, Spelthorne and Runnymede Council, and I think we have Royal Holloway University. So they are going to be in the room and talking to all of the smaller businesses, and there will be other slightly bigger, the bigger SMEs who will be there looking, for smaller suppliers. So it's a real ecosystem, and what we're just trying to do.
I mean, it's definitely a very important thing that we focus on. As you quite rightly said, if there's no sales, then there is no business. And particularly in these days where the economy is really struggling, the costs going up right, left, and center, the only way out of this is more business. There is no other way. You can't run a business by cost cutting. This is not going to happen in the long run. But if we park this sales or finding customers for a moment on one side as one big nugget, what else do you hear from businesses, particularly from the small business community? What is is a pain for them, is something they need help with, and something they struggle with?
Yeah, I mean, the time aspect, obviously, you've already mentioned that. So time is of the essence. Recruitment at the moment is tricky because the new employment bill is requiring so much more from an employer in terms of they can't afford to recruit, they can't afford to take chances, I think is the best way to put it. And I think that's a huge pity, because there are a lot of small businesses have a really good ethos in terms of giving people a chance. And if the powers they have to, really follow that through and make sure that they've got the right people in their organization, if those are taken away, then I mean, I'm skirting around it. But, we're talking about having things in place whereby it's very difficult to say, actually, this isn't working for both of us, or certainly not working for the business. But I also understand, you've got to protect employees as well. And every business, I would say all the businesses that we're in contact with, the last thing in the world is they don't want to make it harder for employees or for people working. But also the costs, the NI contributions, have been going up, and it's just another thing for the business to worry about. And so what happens is the jobs that need doing tend to be divvied out, amongst the rest of the team. So rather than bringing a new person when you really need a new person, we're over sort of over employing the ones that are already there, and then you lose an element of productivity because chasing around, just getting the bare minimum done. Then you're not, really delivering the extra, which is where productivity comes in.
So what could be a solution in your view? Because of course, legislation is legislation for a start. Yeah, of course, you can always change it, but we know this is not a very, very fast thing to achieve. Yeah. So what else could there be? What you could see as a help for small business in this context?
Yeah, I mean, well, we will carry on, obviously, campaigning against some of the regulation. I mean, that's part of what we do. But also, I think another important thing is that there are lots of people who would like to be working currently who are not working. I call it untapped talent. It's harder for them. It may be neurodivergent people. It may be people who haven't worked for a long time, and therefore they've lost all confidence in terms of interviews and things. So there's quite a lot we can do to introduce employers to organizations that will support them if they look to employ people that are part of this sort of untapped cohort. That's one, it is only one small element, and that was really a really strong solution, I would say, last year when people were really looking to recruit. It's a little bit harder now because that's the issue they've got at the moment, is they can't necessarily find the right skills. So the other project in my special projects is putting together the local skills improvement plan and trying to identify which skills are hard to find by employers, which jobs are difficult to fill, because again, that is going to have a multiple effect on the economy. And we're looking. This is an interesting one. So 25 years ago, I remember arriving at the chamber and going to meetings where people said there aren't enough people going into STEM. There aren't enough young people going into STEM. Guess what? There still aren't enough young people going into STEM. So obviously, science, technology. I'm sure just for the benefit of anyone listening. So I manufacturing is the other one. So I think we have a job to do to show young people the exciting jobs that are available. If you go into STEM, the things that, aerospace, cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, we've got some amazing companies within Surrey that need the skills within those areas. So that is helping employers locally. And of course, the larger businesses are able to do their own sort of projects where they'll go into schools or they'll do different things. What the chamber can do is pull people together and do almost a joint placement, or a shared placement. Or
and I think there is also a massive knowledge gap on the small business employer side. And you know what we all do, if it's not clear what to do, we don't do anything. We just park it. I mean, we were looking for somebody who could help actually Atom and us on the Google AdWords side. So it's a very new skill how to do this. And it's impossible to find someone. And at the end of the day, you just park the project. Okay, it's not working. I don't have the time every week to spend 2 days looking for people. And in this space, so I don't do anything, and we do it in a different way and do it ourselves. And this is not really the right approach, but it's the best we can think of at the moment. So there is a knowledge gap. If I would know how to find these people, if there would be a trusted source for the information, doesn't have to be for the employee, but if there is, for example, somebody would advise me on actually how this works, how you find these kind of people, is the following. And we have a few trusted areas you could go, I don't know, University of Guildford or whatever, where you find these people, and we can get you in contact with so-and-so, and you have a conversation with a professor of da-da-da-da, and maybe there is some, that would be super helpful, but because it's hands-on again, isn't it? It's the same like your sales example. It's hands-on help. It's not a form. You find it in the library, go there. And once you've read 750 forms, you come back and ask me whether you have another question. It's not helpful. That would be helpful. And
it's like, business advice generally. We've got Business Surrey, obviously in Surrey, which is run by Surrey County Council. And they have experts within the team on different aspects of business. They deliver quite a lot of events, some online, a few in person. But when I'm talking to them about, what do businesses really want, you're right, it's not filling the forms in, it's actually talking to a human being and actually having their hand held. Even if they have their hand held to fill the form in, it's that connection. And I think that's the bit that, well, due to social media and just the advance of technology, there is a danger of us losing that really, really important part of running a business. The other things are really great, and they absolutely enhance how we run our businesses. But at the end of the day, it is still the human connections and the relationships and the building those connections that makes the difference. And I think that's why I've been here for 25 years, because that is what the chamber is all about. It is about the face-to-face, the pointing people in the right direction, making sure information is easily accessible, but there's always more to do. that's
I mean, I spoke to an architect of it was actually a joint event with the Hampshire chambers. It was at Farnborough Airport, I think it was. About a year ago or something like that. And the guy said, look, we were talking about actually, is this useful, is it not useful? This was one of the very useful networking events, by the way. But what he said is, I have 3 different types of problems, and I'm just passing it to you, and then I want to hear your thoughts on it. They said number 1 is, I'm a relative educated person in one topic. I understand how this works in principle, but I might have I want to reconfirm that I understand all the details. I might need a form, and rather than generating it myself, or maybe in these days you can do it with AI, but I want something that helps me understanding this little knowledge gap I have. Yeah, wonderful. Give me a library or form. I don't need to talk to anyone. I just need the form done or the piece of information done. Yeah. What is the latest interest rate from the Bank of England? Where do I find it? Okay, done. Yeah. And then he said the second topic is I'm so and so interested in it. I need something, but I'm not an expert. And it's a bit like I go to France on holiday, but I don't speak French. Buying a book of how to learn French is not helpful. Yeah, there might be tons of this in the library. So, but I don't have the time. I don't even know where to start. But I want somebody to tell me, how do I approach this topic? And nobody is offering that. I can speak to someone and they say, oh, maybe I know somebody who helps you, but this is not an orchestrated, clear way of getting the advice I need. Yeah, with exceptions. There's so legal advice everyone gives you, regardless of what organization you're in, there's always legal advice. Yeah? And then the third one he said is, regardless whether I'm an expert or not, I have a need for something, but I don't have the capacity to deal with it myself. So I'm not interested in self-help. I'm interested in insourcing this or outsourcing this topic to someone I can trust. Yeah. So we all get hundreds of offers to outsource everything every day. So, but if there would be a pre-screening from a body and saying, actually, these are trusted partners, then suddenly you have a wonderful system. You have the information gap, you have the advice, you have the outsourcing, and then if we want the policy change, which is we all love it in hindsight when it has happened, but trust me, nobody is interested in investing time and money in policy change that happens in 5 years' time or not. Yeah. So I'm not sure what your thoughts on this are, because the information bit is the easy bit. Yeah. Everyone does it, but the advice and the outsourcing bit are more tricky, aren't they?
Yeah, and again, because I've been here quite a long time, these are things that have been past my desk, or have been discussed several times, particularly this idea of having some kind of approval, or a list of it's like approved suppliers, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is fraught with such a lot. I mean, the chamber itself would struggle in terms of the resource to do the pre-checks or whatever. I think it has been done by some of the business advice organizations in the past, but it also sort of goes against this whole free market, So if there are 3 organizations or people on there that have been approved, and you come along with your fantastic new product or service, and you're like, well, hang on a minute, why am I not on that list? And it's so I suppose I suppose the chamber in a way is very much a light touch version of that, in that when you see people, so we will make introductions. And if somebody is interested in, what you provide, or what an organization provides, that we will always we won't just say, oh, go to this person. We would say, well, these 3 companies, organizations are delivering this. And, they're all chamber members. I think being a chamber member is something. I don't think it's the full story, because we don't do checks. But also, you do know, it sounds terrible, you sort of know where you wouldn't necessarily point people, but that is very rare, very, very rare. And I think and everyone has to make their own decisions, don't they, around who they want to listen to or work with. So what we are able to do is put a platform in that sort of provides lots of opportunities for those people to meet. But you have to put yourself out there, which
the thing is what we're talking about there is a more intelligent version, and maybe potentially easier to access than what is currently there. If I go on our website in the chamber, I have my little space there, and technically somebody could look for what we're offering and then contact me. Yeah, we are now, I don't know, 3-4 years member. I have not got one single piece of business from someone who looked me up on the Chamber's website. Yeah. So
You
yes,
can't
we can all
record
say
it.
it's there. And if there would be something, then
I lost you there.
it's nice. But what really should, oh sorry, what I'm saying is it's great that it's there, but if it's not,
it needs to be more active,
yeah, it needs to
more
be, yeah,
proactive, and more promoted as well.
yes,
It always
exactly,
surprises me. We have done some work on it recently because it was starting to look very messy. Lots of people hadn't even bothered to put their details on. So we have put something in place where they don't show if they haven't put their logo up, at least. And so but I think we could do so much more with it. So so the thing I'm getting out of this conversation is a few actions for I'll pass on to the new CEO. But I do agree. I think the directory could be a much more proactive, useful area for people that, you know, are providing different services and products.
Yeah. But this was not a review session of what the Chambers is providing. Well, no, this was not the idea. No. Sorry,
we're not going to use these bits for the.
No. But what would be good if we move on to our final few minutes, and if you could have it your way, and you can, let's assume it's Christmas next week, and Father Christmas is definitely coming, and you get everything you want. Yeah. What would you want to do for the small businesses to take the pressure away from them? What would this look like that they feel actually, no, things are getting better for me? Big question, I know, but just
I mean, after 25 years, I'm not sure I think resource to I think it's about segmenting the businesses, not necessarily the members, but segmenting businesses as such, because there are very different needs across the different types of organizations. So if Father Christmas, if I was the CEO and Father Christmas was coming, I would ask him to bring me a few more people and pay for them for us, that would be able to really focus in on the different needs. Because I think where you know, we all tend to be, not just at the Chamber, but whatever we do, we all tend to be a bit scattergun. And I think focus is the answer. And when we do things that are focused on a particular group of businesses, that's when they're really successful. And I think the Source in Surrey series of events has really sort of pressed some buttons and, you know, tick some boxes, as they say, because you know, it's not trying to be complicated. It's just really basically saying, come on, we need. And it's so the other message from all of that, and we'll come to that as we finish off the year, is it's all about buying local, but it's also about selling global. So we've got to get more businesses able to sell overseas and confident and happy. And that is a whole area to tackle. That would make a massive difference to the economy, for the UK economy, and certainly, you know, for the local economy, if we have more businesses. It's made it harder with Brexit, obviously, but there are still some fantastic opportunities, and we've got such good connections overseas, but we don't yet, I don't think we fully exploit those. So that there would be, you know, one of Father Christmas's friends would be able to focus on that whole global scenario.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, I think this may be a little. I think a lot of businesses are struggling with the expectations of people coming into the workforce. You know, different generations coming into the workforce. I think and it's up to the employers as well to accept that people are coming in with different expectations. So the employers have got to adapt to that as well. So I think there's some work to be done on understanding, you know, the different generational sort of expectations. I think it's really tough today with all of the working remotely. It all sounds great, and it's lovely for people. You can work anywhere, but I think we're missing a huge amount of productivity, which happens when you bring people into a room together, and it does not happen on
Absolutely.
online calls. But I think, unfortunately, that is a societal thing, and it's where, you know, everybody. I mean, some of the bigger companies are now not going along with it. But I think, you know, when people are being interviewed, there is an expectation that there is an element of working from home. And don't get me wrong,
You're
here I am on a Monday.
You're pressing a button with me there, and I have, to say the least, I have massive concerns about it. Yeah, because it's wonderful for the flexibility people getting. Yeah, so if you have to, I don't know, get your car MOT'd, yeah, you can build this in somehow without creating a big issue. Yeah, but and here two big things to fuel your fury there even more. Yeah, one is people that are entering the workforce. They need to understand how businesses work, how companies work, how the interaction works. It's not about actually, can you fill this spreadsheet in? I see you in 3 hours on a video call. No. It's about all the stuff around it. Why do you need this spreadsheet? Yeah. Who is going to do it? Oh, I met so and so at the coffee machine, and they're saying next door there is this happening. And this gives you an understanding of how the company works. You understand personalities. You understand that maybe speaking up all the time isn't the best strategy for a promotion. Yeah, but how would a young person learn all that if she or he sits at home at a computer all day, going from one video call into the next? It's not happening. Yeah. And the second thing is is basically the productivity you're talking about is the networking in the company.
Yeah.
And then also, you when you work in an office, you work with a wide angle. Yeah, you have your job to do, but you hear what's happening on the other side as well, and that influences what you do. And this is totally missing. It doesn't have to be a joint meeting. You just are aware of what's going on. All that is missing. And I personally, I don't know. I think we are having a ticking time bomb here, and if we carry on like that, in 5 or 10 years' time, we will pay a massive bill. Yeah, because people will not understand how business works. They will not understand how they have to interact with other people. Young people will not be ready to be managers because they never had the experience to see how management works. Yeah.
I'm going to invite you to a workshop, so I'll send it afterwards, but around this topic that Surrey University are doing. I haven't really had much chance to go out and see who'd come. It's beginning of June, but I'm going to send you, see if you can attend that, because your thoughts on it will be really helpful. So
yeah, happy to do that. So
lovely.
I think we're coming to an end.
Yes,
Louise,
I've got another session.
Yeah, it was lovely talking to you, and very good thoughts. And I can only echo what you say. I mean, there's nothing where I feel no, I think this is not the right approach or not the right concern or so. And I think what I probably would love to hear or to see is that there are organizations that take this seriously. And I appreciate that what you said. It also needs capacity on the delivery side, but maybe starting small with something that works, would be a massive difference. Yeah, and anyway, here we are, and it doesn't have to be the last conversation.
Yeah, lovely to spend some time with you. And sorry, I've probably been a bit evasive. Just try. That's the reason that I did the reorganization. I proposed the reorganization, was that I just couldn't keep all the plates. You know, there's two major projects and the chamber, so So you must have you met Helena yet, the new CEO?
No, I have not.
So
No.
it will be good for you to meet
Yeah.
her, because she's got some great ideas about the whole segmentation as well. And
Yeah.
you know, we all know it needs doing. It's just the how, really. So
yeah, and I'm also happy to get my hands dirty if I can be of use there. It doesn't mean that I have to just sit at the fence and moan and consume. I can also support if possible.
Well, I'll get you along to that
Yeah.
workshop. I'll be going to it.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to, if you are able to.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
Oh, Artem's back.
Okay. Artem is back.
Have you been put to sleep?
I am so sorry. I had a massive issue with my computer just went offline.
Oh no.
But we're back. So we'll get right. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Oh, I thought it had stopped.
No,